Hello, my most amazing art students. Today we're going to be making the background for our proportional Primavera figures. And in order to do that, I'm going to start by creating a template. Because if you look at the original painting, La Primavera, you'll see that there's kind of a circular outline around the main central figure in the painting, and so I want to create a mask or somewhere where we aren't painting in that circle for the background. I want it to stay light there. And interestingly enough, I'm kind of going about this backwards, I think, because the trees. So I won't use this until after I paint all of the blue background. Okay, so we're going to save that, but we got to get started with painting the background. And we're just going to do a blue watercolor background, and just a wash. We don't need it to be dark or anything like that. A lot of this is going to be painted over. Oh, and before I forget, we're going to need a horizon line. So you'll see that I stop painting the blue probably about here, because we need it to have ground for our figures to stand on. They're not going to be floating in the sky in our paintings. So I'm going to kind of go back and forth here. Get that all smoothed out. And create a nice background wash for this painting. So I hope you guys have picked up an inexpensive set of watercolors by now. Unfortunately, we're not back in school like I was hoping we would be. So we're still doing things with what we have at home. You can always use markers and create your own watercolor. So for the ground layer, I'm going to mix some green and brown together and just create a ground tone. Okay, it doesn't, you guys can do like a little, maybe a little bit of black in there. I'm just trying to mix up a color that I think would be a good ground tone. Okay, it doesn't have to be anything perfect or fancy. I should have taped this paper down before I got started. That's usually what I do when I paint with watercolors. I always tape my paper down. A little bit of that black. Alright. And it's okay if the color changes a little bit as you go along, because sometimes when you mix up that first color, because the ground isn't all the same color anyways, right? So if we were in school doing this, I don't know, maybe I would start with a different colored paper as our background and then add the trees over top. So I'm not sure. I've done this with chalk before. I've done this with tempera paint before. You know, it's just one of those things that we got to make do. Alright? Alright. So that's my ground level, and I'm going to just quickly, here's my figure. So if I sit him on here, he'll totally be on the ground. I'm going to finish, while this dries over here, takes a few minutes to dry, I'm going to finish coloring him. Okay. And adding some shadowing into the folds of his robe here. There would definitely be a shadow under his belted waist here. And then as the folds come up here, maybe he's got these sandals. And then I'm going to cut him out. Little shadowing here as where the robe. So we're just trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. This is obviously not how our hands are shaped, but we're learning. We are definitely coming from a place of people are an interesting thing to draw, and everyone's different, and no one's alike. But this person that we've created with the template has proportion, and that's what we were concerned about, right? Proportional figure. And then he's got his little staff here. Maybe it's a spear. Should we make it a spear? I don't know. It should have been a flute, maybe. Maybe he's playing an instrument here. Because he looks like he's having a good time. Maybe his sandals are also made from leather and have color here. There we go. So I'm thinking I like that. I'm going to add a little bit of darker highlights to his hair. Maybe a little bit of shadowing under his, just very lightly with my pencil, creating a shadow with this brown color. Okay, so, and maybe right here, as where the thumb is, where he's holding this. Okay. So, I'm going to add, this is going to be some kind of flute. Alright, so I'm adding a few little holes along here so he can play a cool song. Alright, so I'm going to cut this guy out now. I'm not going to worry about this being perfectly cut out right now because I want to show you the next step with the adding the trees as that. It's pretty much, it's almost dry. And I'm thinking we're going to want to do, we might have to do 2 separate videos. And we might just put it all together next week. We'll see. We'll see where we get to. Because this is going to take a little while to cut all these little intricate things out. And I have to go do recess with the kindergartners here in a minute. So try to fit in all the work. I'm interested to know what figures you guys made up or how you clothed them, because I sent you those pictures of all the different ways that they, I mean, most of them are drapey type robes that they wore back then, so that was quite interesting. You can put, it's kind of like the fashion of the day. I wonder what we'd say the fashion of the day is now. Kind of at this time in history, what would be the one or two things that you would say, is the thing that pretty much everyone wears that's in style, you know. Okay. Draped robes with style, Greece at the time. You know. I guess they didn't have very good sewing skills. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. All you needed was a sheet and a belt, and you were good to go in the morning. Almost there. So I hope you guys are having a good time. I get to see some of you guys at recess, Miss Phillips' class. I don't get to see Miss Shumpert's. So here's my, I forgot to cut right here. Needs a mitted hand right here. Alright. Throw my scraps away. And, you know, my background is not dry enough to work on right now, but we're going to put him right here. And I was looking at my other figure. I might finish her. They might be dancing together. I probably have enough room for them both to be on here. But for now, and this is still too wet, so I have to let this dry. But this is, you get the idea, and we're going to put this template that I've created here. You know what, maybe I'll just leave it with one person. Put this template here when we create our trees around this, so that we get that circular look from the original painting La Primavera. So for today, this is as far as we're going to go. I might have time to finish another video for today with the trees if this dries in time. I have other lessons to do. So pretty cool looking so far. I'm pretty pleased with that. You guys have a great day. Okay?